depends on which way you want to look at this particular, what shall we say, latest offering from, of course, the Duchess of Sussex, that she likes to be basically called. Even when she was out in Geneva, she kept reminding people, or the person that was with her, remember, it's the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Duchess of Sussex. Meanwhile, all the headlines, and this just must infuriate Markle, right? All the headlines simply say Meghan Markle, what she was wearing, Meghan Markle. And remember, she'd really tried very hard to get rid of that moniker by even going on television, Drew Barrymore. And nobody's really buying it because they all sort of think it's not actually, I don't believe, talking to the editors, they're not being unkind. It's about algorithms, right? It's about what do people search for. Nobody looks for Meghan Duchess of Sussex because they don't see her in that vein. You see what I mean? And of course, it's a bit like I've mentioned to you before around the
world. People actually still search for the name Kate Middleton rather than Catherine, the Princess of Wales. My thing is that I think if they just put Princess Catherine, I think you'd find more. But the way it works is, how do we know? It's algorithms, isn't it? I always thought that was something you took for an upset stomach, but there you go. And the thing is, ultimately they're just trying to catch as many people as they can to read the articles. As I say, these particular pictures are split. And the other side of the coin when you look at it is, it depends on which way you look at it, from a former staff member.
They told me exactly why Meghan does this and posts so many pictures. As ever, let me explain. Hi chums, welcome back. Nice to see you. You're looking good. Are you all right today? Can I thank you, by the way, as ever, for your lovely, kind comments regarding my personal story about a royal party up in a wonderful area in West Yorkshire, Harewood House. Many of you have been. Yes, so thank you for that. I know, it is a wonderful place. As I often say when I look around these places is, wow, just a family lived in here. But of course, it's not like you, is it? That family would have had a big, big staff and, gardeners and all sorts of stuff, servants, horses. I think you do forget that, when I'm in London a lot. Sorry, I'll get told off, I know, but when I'm in London, I love looking at the mews houses because you forget that the mewses behind those big houses were where the horses stayed. And then, the person looking after a horse would be the person living above. They just lived above their job, didn't they? Now they're like £4 billion. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Those sort of places to live in before, that would have been seen as, oh no.
You're not one of those, you can get in there, love, but now, oh no, you're brilliant, you can go there now. Of course, what's interesting, we need to get back or else I'll be told off and we'll have another wave. Now, what's interesting about this particular story is Meghan Markle recently posted out the 8th wedding anniversary pictures. And again, what I find interesting is both of these two, oh no, we want to be private, we don't want this, people leave us alone, the intrusion, the security. Nobody cared when she was in Geneva about any level of security, right? Nobody cared. Must be hard, right, when you think about it, because you think, well, where is everybody? And there lies your problem, right? It's a reality when you go out to the public domain and you are a celebrity. If nobody turns up, then it's a huge, huge, huge problem. What's interesting about this, though, is people are saying, oh, these adorable pictures and never be sought for seen pictures of Meghan's wedding. And they cited the fact that, in those pictures are the then Prince of Wales, His Royal Highness, His Majesty the King, right? And as I've often said, to me, it was deplorable the way that she treated him for his coronation.
When he graciously did that, it was a nice thing for him to do. He didn't need to do it. And remember, as I told you before, she never asked. So she can never say, oh, well, I asked you and I feel guilt. No. She sent Harry, right? When she decided right from the off that the father wasn't coming, right? And she thought, well, you know what? Better, but only halfway down the aisle. Everybody suggesting that this is an olive branch. Rubbish. I know for a fact that what this really is Meghan Markle saying 2 points, right? Look what you've let go, meaning look at what we had, look at how popular I was, and you by ostracizing me and treating me badly in the royal family, remember, it always goes back to Markle in the end, look at what you've lost. Secondly, and this is the real interesting point because this is, as I mentioned before to you, Meghan Markle has a lot of footage, lots of pictures, but in my opinion, I think they'd be interesting, but not as interesting as she would think. You know what I'm saying? It's like anybody who's ever met a huge Hollywood star, whether it be Paul Newman, Robert Redford, Marilyn Monroe, that's interesting because they're iconic.
Meghan Markle really can now twist any sort of story. She can tell anything about what happened on the royal train when she was kindly and very graciously invited by our monarch for that trip to Cheshire. But I know that she was never alone with her. All thanks to Angela Kelly, right? We have her to thank for that. So Meghan's idea of this is like, oh, look, look at this. This is what I've got. And she might be behind the scenes, as many people are saying, quickly scribing away on her book, but who's the problem is who's going to believe anything. You see, the counterweight to that is the only way that anybody would buy Meghan Markle's book and her story and her truth is if she took to task many of these authors, likes of Tom Bower with his revenge and his betrayal, and basically dissected it and said, this is what happened. You were not there. She can't do that because she lives in fear of the fact that that person could say, well, I'll come out and say, here it is. I was there. This is truly what happened. So behind the scenes, while many people are saying, oh, this is nice, this is no, this is Meghan basically saying to the
Royals that actually this is what I've got. There's plenty more that you've not seen. There's plenty more stories. The thing is anybody else buying it but Meghan? And as we saw recently with Fergie, her sort of waving the flag of I might do a book for £1 million, that was wiped out the moment the scandalous headline of herself and the rapper entrepreneur P. Diddy came to light. You see what I'm saying? Nothing really works if you didn't start out with the best intentions. Anybody else agree?